This is your second time on stage, James.
Yes.
Big round of applause, everybody, from Ajax, Ontario, James Bailey.
Okay, thank you. All right. Everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to begin by addressing the two questions that came to the minds of all the young people who saw me come up the stage. How old is this fucking guy? What the hell is he doing here? Okay. Well, I'll give you a couple of clues, okay? When I was young, we didn't drive to Max Milk or Metro or any of the equivalents because nobody had cars. Bread and milk were delivered to your house by a guy in a uniform driving a delivery van powered by a horse. Okay, so I've been around for a long time. Young people are going to think of me as being an old fart, a codger, a geezer, but personally I've taken on the attitude of First Nations. I'm an elder. And as an elder, I have a right, a duty, and a responsibility to pass on unwanted, unwarranted, and unsolicited advice to anyone younger than myself. Now, the first bit of advice I'm going to give you is that, especially for you young people, everything that you are thinking and doing right now someday is going to look really, really stupid. Okay? And I'm not talking about the big things like, say, giving Kathleen Wynne a majority government. I'm talking about the small stuff, like buying shoes, okay? When I was a kid and I needed new shoes, my mom would take me to the store where I would meet a overweight gentleman in a cheap suit with kind of a Julian Fantino comb-over who would introduce me to a machine that was about this high, had a viewfinder here, a viewfinder here, and a viewfinder here. He would tell me to stick my little feet into a slot at the bottom. We'd all look in the viewfinders. He'd flip a switch. The machine would go, and we would all look in the viewfinders. I would wiggle my toes, and we would see this bright glow coming off the individual bones in my feet, my 6-year-old feet. It was an X-ray machine. A marketing gimmick that was totally unregulated, uncontrolled, unmonitored by anybody. This was not Sick Kids Radiology Clinic. This was the shoe department at Simpsons at Queen and Young back in the 50s. Okay? Now, I tell you that because for some of you young people, you should be aware that this was a pretty common practice for my generation. So at least one or more of your parents, your grandparents probably went through this. What this means is that if, growing up, you've got a little web between your toes, or you've got a little tailbone sticking out above your butt crack. Now you know why. As for myself, I've been very fortunate in my health, and I think one of the reasons for that is I've been very fortunate in my love life. Okay, I've been married to the same woman for 36 years with no breaks, and it wasn't an accident. I was very careful about who I chose to be my life partner. I wanted to be with a woman for all time who was beautiful and kind and friendly and generous and had big tits. Call me shallow, but it worked for me. Now, again, for the young people in the audience, I want to give you a little career advice, okay? I notice a lot of you are going to community colleges or other post-secondary institutions, and you're taking courses, programs in sexy subjects like broadcast journalism, and creative advertising, and film and media studies. Well, there's a problem with that plan. My generation has got all the damn good jobs, and they ain't giving them up for you. Okay? Just consider the evidence, okay? Peter Mansbridge is 67. Sandy Ronaldo is 66. Craig Oliver, who's billed as CTV's chief political commentator, is 77 years old, and he's legally blind. He can't even read the shit that he's commenting on. And the granddaddy of them all, still actively working on W5, is Lloyd Robertson, who is 82. And I guarantee you, none of these people are going to be checking out the brochures from Shady Acres anytime soon. So my advice to you would be to get out of those programs as quickly as you can and get into something that's more useful and practical, you know, something like carpentry or plumbing or electrical contracting. Any kind of a field where all the incumbents, their greatest career goal is to get a WSIB disability pension at age 53, and they'll leave room for you. Okay, now, but the last bit of advice, and I know advice after a while, even for me, gets kind of tiresome, but the last bit of advice I'm going to give you is that you have to understand where my generation are coming from when you're trying to communicate with us, when you're trying to express your deepest feelings about political events or social progress or our moral responsibility to the third world or whatever, okay? Because I know sometimes you think we're being obtuse, we're being politically obtuse, or we're just not with it. Well, what I want you to understand is that we understand what you're saying. We do. We don't like what you're saying. You've been around a long time, and we think you're full of shit. Okay? And that's my bit. Thank you.